This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Welcome to Purpose Driven Sobriety. Thank you for joining the Purpose Driven Sobriety podcast. My name is Christine and I'm an alcoholic. Today's sponsor is actually purposedrivensobriety.com, where we have t-shirts that are recovery and faith related that help support the show. Just a very small portion of each t-shirt is a profit, and it goes to this cause, is to do this podcast. So, and also be sure to check us out on social media, Purpose Driven Sobriety. There is a Facebook page and then a private group that you can also get into where we just share all the things regarding recovery. So, without further ado, today I got me on a normie, and I just happened to have papers on him. The Hubbins Rick is here with me today to do purpose-driven topics, and I know I've done this before with some of the girls in recovery that have come up and talked with me, and we've chosen topics. But I figured it'd be fun to see a normal person, an earthling, pull out topics and see what he has to say about them. So, which, here's the deal: every single one of them, every single human deals with each and every topic that's in here. So I figured it'd just be fun to get together and do that. So, hi, Rick.
Hi, Christine.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you for coming on here.
Is that the salutation?
That is my salutation. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're just we've got a fishbowl. If you're listening, you can also watch this, by the way, on YouTube if you choose to. We just pull a topic out and just wherever the spirit leads you.
Got it.
Okay. So how about you go first?
I'll go first. And that's the first time I've ever been called a normie.
You are a normie.
Slips.
Okay, well, now, so in recovery world, slips means to relapse.
Relapse, right?
But, the way, and you and I, and for those of you who don't know, you can go back and listen to Rick's episode. It was within the first 5. I can't remember which one it was. But he has come basically through recovery with me. So having slips, it doesn't necessarily have to do with alcohol. We've talked about how you have said that you're kind of in recovery from anger. You had some anger issues. Mm-hmm. So slips could be slipping back into old behavior. So
I find myself doing that almost daily.
Yeah.
Not so much to where I just I act on it, but the thoughts and the probably very similar to what you go through. I know that, you have thoughts of, what it would be like to take a drink again, and, the repercussions of that. But yeah, the slips is, somebody cuts you off and, you get that anger. Mine has always been to the point, or used to be, where you would take action on it. Mm-hmm.
That would make you feel better if you did.
At least temporarily, kind of like, a couple of shots of, Jack Daniels or a couple of shots of tequila would, for, an alcoholic. But, the repercussions of that is something, you've got to look at the consequences of your actions and what happens if, what would you do if? Mine was anger. Mine was a life of angry all the time at everybody, and the recovery that I've gone with you, has helped me get closer to God, has given me more tranquility, has helped me become a more of a at peace, not only with myself, but other people, putting things in priority, what really matters, does that guy cutting you off? And I remember, I'll tell you the story, I'll tell them the story. When we got the bracelets.
The WWJD bracelets.
JD bracelets, and going home from our house, there is it goes down to from 2 to 1 lane. And, of course, all the, Billy Bluetooths, that get up in the second lane, that's going to cut in front of everybody because they want to be first. And the first time that we had the bracelets, I had one on, and the guy pulled up next to me.
And instantly your hand gets tighter around the steering wheel
No,
because
you're
like,
not.
oh, hell no,
You
you ain't
don't
getting in front of
deserve. You can't be in front of me. You don't deserve to be in front of me.
stupid.
And of course, the light turns green, and we start to go. And I put my hand up, and I look down, and I see the bracelet. And I thought, fine. So slips are easy. Slips are real easy for anyone. Trying to be a better person, trying to change your life. And it's a constant reminder of maybe not what you should do, but what you shouldn't do. Because all it takes is one. Then the second one's easier. And the third one's easier after that. Until you find yourself back into the pit of where it was at before you started on the road to recovery. So.
Well, and the same thing with recovery. I mean, at first glance, a slip would be a relapse where I drank again.
Right.
But just like you said, it in the epiphany that I had in first getting sober, when my sponsor said that alcohol wasn't my problem, I thought my head was going to spin off because I thought, how can that possibly be? That doesn't make any sense. But I have since learned that alcohol was not my problem. I was my problem. So in that light, that puts us both on equal, you and I on equal defects territory, whether it be anger or fear or resentments or, pick one.
Selfishness. Holy cow. I mean, I think that's the root of it.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
So for me, relapse, I heard people say when I first got sober, relapse is a part of recovery. And it's like, doesn't have to be. It was for me. Make no mistake about it. But I wasn't in recovery when I relapsed. And I relapsed hard. Y'all can listen to my story, the Meet Your Host episode and hear about that. But, since that day, I've not put any form of alcohol in my body since March 14, 2012. But I still have selfishness, self-centeredness, resentments, anger, fear. I still have all those things that I can slip back into old behavior. And me slipping back into old behavior will lead me to a drink.
Sure.
So yeah. Like I said, in that sense, it puts us on equal ground. Okay, my turn.
Throw it back in?
No.
Oh. We're through with that one.
Oh, honesty. So, you might go, okay, well, I had become quite well at, I was a liar. And I wasn't a liar because I was a liar. I was a liar because I was sick. I was a liar because I had a spiritual malady that told me things, and thus I shared, I wasn't a liar because I was a liar. And so the honesty thing, for me, and I just went to the 12 o'clock meeting today, AA meeting today, and we were talking kind of about that, how, for me, honesty is the only thing I can do. My agreement with God when I got sober on March 14, 2012 was that I would never tell a lie again, ever, no matter what. And there have been occasions, very rarely, in first getting into recovery, where I caught myself, which is so funny when I say this, telling maybe a little white lie, which lies aren't colored. Yeah, right. They're not colored. It either is or isn't. But since I am probably the most honest person I know, but I lie to myself every single day. You're so fat. You're stupid. You'll never be able to figure that out. Why are you even doing this? Those kinds of things that go through my head are just lies, And so lately, even going on 12 years in recovery, I find myself challenging myself to see me how God sees me, you know? And when I say those things to myself, catching and stopping it right then, you know? But there are some, like, we have a couple of family members that cannot handle, honesty very well, and so they stay away from us, and which is okay, that's, we can love someone from afar, but honesty, when there is a new level of peace when you don't have to worry about what you've said to someone, that to remember the lies. I mean, there's just a new level of peace to just know that you are who you are to anyone and everyone, and with that integrity, that who are you when nobody's looking kind of thing. But honesty, and it's so funny because I'll have people, social media or people that interact with us that were like, "Oh my gosh, you're just so honest. I just love you." And it's like, when did honesty become a compliment?
Well, it's a breath of fresh air for most people.
I know, right? Yeah. Isn't that sad?
Well, it is sad, and we've heard time and time again, when you meet the Father, the only thing that you're going to stand in front of him with is your character, which is honesty.
Mm-hmm.
How honest have you been throughout your life? And I think that's one of the things that everybody needs to work on. And there's not a degree of right and wrong. We've taught our kids, do the right thing. Treat people the way you'd want to be treated, and do the right thing. Do you want people to lie to you?
Mm-hmm.
Then don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
So it's honesty is a character building, and there's no degree of honesty. You either lie or you don't lie, and you can't pick and choose what you're going to be honest about.
But I got to tell you though, that there is such a thing as, you need to check your motives when you're at times when you're being honest with someone. Like, for instance, we were talking about that again at the meeting today, where if you let's put it this way. If you were to sit here and be having a conversation with someone and you go, yeah, and 2 + 2 is 5. My instant thing, if I'm being very honest with myself, my instant thing is, I want to correct you so that I am above you. There's no two ways. There's no way to decorate. That's just the truth. So in reality, what I should, am I correct? Would I be correcting you to make you a better person, to help you, enlighten you? No, that's not the honest truth. When you really unpack all of that. So checking the motives behind honesty, if there's something that you feel like you need to say to somebody, that checking your motives is really super important. And if you're not sure what your motives are, thank God, that's why I have a sponsor where I can call and go, here's what I'm thinking. Is that correct, or is that true, or am I selfish? I have to do that at times.
Yeah, because we want to be right.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a line between being honest and being cruel.
Being a jerk, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
How does this sweater make me look? Well, it's stupid looking. That's being honest, but it's also being cruel. Well, it doesn't look bad, but maybe another sweater would be a different, different look on you.
Yeah, you and I have a thing with that. Let's get out our dirty laundry. Yeah, because there are times where I of course, but you do have a point. Sometimes I'm a little bull in a china cabinet or china store or whatever they say. I know I'm admitting it. But there are times where it's like, I could say to you, oh, maybe another sweater, and you're going to get butthurt.
Because I want to be right.
Every single time you get butthurt. So I've gotten to where it's like, if you just want to look like a dummy, then look like a dummy. Whatever you want to do.
That's honesty.
Anyway, okay, pick another topic.
My turn.
Your turn. Go. Come on. Good one.
Sponsorship.
Okay. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that. And let me tell you, one of the things that I've found, you're my sponsor. I mean, our travels through this, recovery and, the addiction process. And I've been not a normie, but a third party
Willing participant.
tag along.
Willing participant.
Willing participant. Tag along. But I think everybody needs a sponsor, whether it's
Or in earthling terms, a spiritual partner is what I tell some of my friends.
Partner, someone that you can, not necessarily someone that leads the example, which would be, of course, the best way to do it, but someone that you could talk to, someone that you can draw from, someone that has got some offerings of a better way to live your life. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I know you have a sponsor, and when things get kind of tough, you pick up the phone and you call her, or you have lunch with her, or you have breakfast with her, or something. Mm-hmm. But it's that connection where someone might say, there might be a better way to do this. Because given on our own, we're going to do what's best for us. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily the best thing to do, but what we feel like is the best thing for us. Mm-hmm. That selfishness comes into play. Mm-hmm. And we live a life of selfishness. From an instant that we are able to walk, talk, understand, it's drilled into our head. You can do anything that you want to do. You can be anything that you want to be. And those are not bad things, but, there is I think there's a line that you can do anything that you want to do, but you don't have to kick people. You don't have to run over them. You don't have to step on them. And I think the sponsorship is one of those things that helps you to find your way of the right way and the best way to do things. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and sponsorship for me is someone that I have given the authority to call me on my stuff without consequence. I mean, I have given her the authority to tell me how I am or how I'm being or how I should be. Whereas I love you, but there are times maybe I'll share something with you that if you said to me, maybe you're being a little selfish, I would claw your eyeballs out.
Right.
Whereas with her, it's like, crap, maybe I am. I have, like I said, it's so important because if you have not given that person the authority to be honest, right, it won't work. The relationship won't work. Or it won't work to its full capabilities, if you will. And the same thing if you're, we have a lot of normies that listen to this show, people who aren't alcoholic, but they still have alcoholic behavior, mind you. I think we've distinguished the difference. But yeah, having a spiritual partner, and that's just another human being that you trust enough to give you the authority to, and that's actually having a conversation with another human being and saying, listen, here's the kind of relationship I would love to have with you. Are you willing? And it's invaluable. I mean, it's, because sometimes my emotions and my thinking are just so wrecked or so screwed up at the time that I just can't see the right thing to do. Because you're right, I'll make it about me, and that's 100% of the time the wrong thing to do. But I can't see that. If I'm in this middle of a storm, I can't see it. So she's the voice outside the storm to go, hey, come this way. Come this way. Have you thought about doing this? And it's not you need to do this or do this.
It's not somebody that's going to give you directions.
A drill sergeant, right.
Here's the instructions and you do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and, this is the way you're supposed to live. It's not that. It is someone that you can talk to. Mm-hmm. Someone that you can share things with. Mm-hmm. Someone you can talk to and share things with without being judgmental. Mm-hmm. Because most of the time, even if it's a close friend, the thing in the back of their mind, when they, tell me what to do. Nobody needs to tell you what to do. Being able to think about it and talk about it and start to work those things out in your own mind, I think is the important thing of a sponsor.
Well, and the beautiful thing about my sponsor and how I sponsor is I don't have the answers. I don't have the answers. And she would tell you she doesn't have the answers. She always directs me to the one that does, which is God. She always says, which it drives me freaking crazy, because I'll be spinning like the Tasmanian devil, and I'll call her, and she's like, what does God say? And I'm like, I don't know. I called you. And she's like, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you ask God what he thinks, and then let me know what he says, and let's talk about it. So it's just always been a great relationship. So, okay, let's do my turn now. Ooh, perfectionism. Perfectionism. You know what I learned recently is perfectionism is a form of pride and ego.
And selfishness.
It is,
And selfishness.
And
everything.
It is not a good quality to have. It's always great to want to do well, but once you have done your best, you should be able to go, that is enough, and put that down. I am a perfectionist. I'm not near what I used to be, but I'm a 54-year-old ADHD person that is unmedicated, mind you, but so I have to have things a certain way in my area a certain way for me to be able to function properly. We laugh because my desk, Rick and I work together. My desk, I can tell if someone's been sitting at my desk. It's like the Three Bears, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It's like, I can tell if someone's been sitting here. My stapler's moved, or there's a pen that's not clicked. It's, but perfectionism is thinking that it's an outward thing, because I need you to think a certain way about me, so I'll kill myself trying to be perfect.
And you'll
trying
never
to
make
have
it.
Right, which is it's immediately self-defeating. So trying to do your best is always wonderful. That's a great thing to do. But once you've done that, and you can honestly say, I have done my best, you should be able to put that down. What is
And most people
perfectionism
can't.
to you?
Well, yeah. I think it's for people that strive to be perfectionists, it is it's maybe not pride, maybe where you have a lack of self-esteem. You want to be a perfection because nothing else would be acceptable by anyone else.
Or you think.
Or you think that it
Yeah.
wouldn't be acceptable by anyone else for yourself. Yeah, it's to have things that in your life that are in order, that has to be the same way each time, only starts to turn into frustration, and unhappiness with yourself, because you'll never get it. If you want to be a perfectionist, that's do your best, but you'll never be perfect. And never being perfect will always lead to that frustration, which will lead to anger, which will lead to
resentments,
drinking, which will lead to
or acting out and having
absolutely,
yeah.
all the other things that go along with the our imperfections of life. Yeah, there's nothing perfect, regardless of who you are. Only one person in this life has ever been perfect, or ever will be.
I agree. Okay, your turn.
My turn. Oh, character defects.
Oh, I thought I took that one out.
I don't have any of those.
Okay. Where's that honesty one? Let me
Right,
get that
yeah.
one back.
Perfection. Where's that perfection one? Character defects. We've all got them. You can be in a room of, you know, 30 people, and there'll be somebody that you just don't like for whatever reason. Now, the question is, what character defect is that? Is it of them or is it of you? God said the greatest thing, or Jesus said the greatest thing was to love thy neighbor as thyself. Wow. How do you do that? What is that, a character defect, not being able to do that? What exactly is a character defect?
Anything that gets, in my humble opinion, anything that gets between you and God. Which is why the steps, the program of recovery is so beautiful, because the steps help you iron those out, and just as soon as you get up to 12, you slide down the banister and get to start over. Step 1, what am I powerless over? Is my life unmanageable because of it? And then getting to step 4, you list out your resentments and then getting over to the last column on step 4, it's like, where was I wrong in this situation? Which always is where the meat and potatoes are, because if I'm, and it says in our literature on page 417, that if we are disturbed, it's because a person, place, or thing is not doing what we want them to do. So whose problem is that? Right. So the character defects, I don't think I have near as many as I did, but this will be a work in progress. I get to do this for the rest of my life, But the beautiful thing is, I get to do this for the rest of my life.
Well, what is it? Is it honesty or lack of honesty? Is it is it pride? Is it any of those things that we've already talked about? Are those character defects? And I think it's, as we go through life, we're gonna have character defects regardless of what we do or how good we are or what we're striving to do. And I think our goal is to maybe have less character defects at the end than we did, at the beginning of our journey of life.
But again, the beautiful thing about recovery is there is a solution, right? That because a lot of people have all kinds of character defects, but don't have the self-awareness to know that's what's going on. Whereas we have the steps to where if we are disturbed, it's like, okay, what's going on? And we have a way of releasing those defects as they cause harm to ourselves and to other people, through the steps. So, okay, enough of that icky one. Let's find a good one. Oh, this is a good one. Prayer. So, and it's funny because and it may sound weird, but I don't pray, because I have just an open dialogue. With God all day, every day, never ceasing. May do the good food, good meat, good God. Let's eat at dinner kind of thing. For the benefit of family members or people that are present with us that maybe don't pray that often or what have you. But that to me, the structured, I just have a conversation with God. I don't, the saying the exact same thing every single time you pray, which, okay, if that's your thing, then cool for you. For me, it's sometimes my simple prayer, which is again a thought I have towards God, is just help, or use me, or what do I do now, or the these and the thous and the all that kind of stuff. I think here's my point. God just wants a relationship with us, and having a conversation the way you and I are having, honest. A lot of people feel like they can't get mad at God. I get mad at God all the time. He can handle it. All the time, because things may not be going my way, but at the end of the day, I trust him, and I want his will for me, not my own, because my own got me into some pretty dark places.
Well, but I think the misconception is you're supposed to, get up in the morning and kneel down and, humble yourself before God and pray. Prayer doesn't have to be a formal conversation, or it doesn't have to be something that's formal that you do. Yeah, I said a prayer coming up in the elevator. My morning prayer is, Father, thank you for the night. Thank you for, thank you for the new day. Please help me to do the things that you want me to do. Guide me. And every time something happens, I think I say a little prayer, put the words in my mouth that will honor you. Help me to say something to someone that will bring them closer, or give them a little joy for the day. And I've gotten, I think you've mentioned it a couple of times. I've gotten to the point where I like to see the expression on a waiter or waitress's face when I say, "Hey, how's your day going?" "Oh, it's okay. It'll get better."
Just acknowledging.
Yeah, and being genuinely prayerful for them. Yeah, prayer doesn't have to be a formal talk between you and God. Prayer is constant. Prayer is all the time.
Well, and it's funny because in the literature, the big book, from the third step prayer, there's a third step prayer that does not end with amen. The only time there's an amen in the book is after the seventh
Really, I didn't know
step
that.
prayer. Yeah. So it said that anything between the third and the seventh is a constant, conversation with God. Yeah. But yeah, prayer, it's one of those things, and it always strikes me funny because I was this person as well prior to getting into recovery, where something really bad will happen, and it's gonna, someone will say, all we can do now is pray, and it's like, oh my gosh, that needs to be the first thing you're doing. It should be the first thing you're doing.
First thing in the morning, last thing at night, and everything in between.
Well, yeah, but because God, God is a gentleman. He will not go where he is not invited. And if you find yourself getting into any type of a situation, that's the first thing you should do. Then if there's physical or whatever actions that need to be taken, but you got to invite God into the situation instead of waiting until you're climbing the walls and then you're doing what's called the foxhole prayer. God save me from and anyway. So
I promise
prayer.
I'll do better.
Right.
Deliver me from this, and I promise I'll do better.
that movie, I can't remember the name of it, with Burt Reynolds. We looked it up not too long ago. Where he's going to kill himself, so he swims out into the middle of the ocean. He's, I'm out of here. I'm done with this life, and then all of a sudden he has this epiphany that he wants to live, and he's like, God, if you'll save me, I promise not to do this, and he starts swimming towards the shore. And as he gets a little bit closer, he's like, "Oh God, I promise not."
I'll give you 50%
well maybe but I won't do this anymore. Anyway.
And by the time he gets to shore,
he's got one or two things he says he's not going to do anymore. That's just such his life, man. And then Dom DeLuise tries to kill him when he gets on shore. Okay, your turn.
But we live our lives of wantings without prayer.
Well, in gratitude, I mean, how many times do you just stop and say, God, thanks, God, for I just, getting all the green lights between here and the office. It's like, I think I'm the Queen of Sheba, and it's like, thanks for that, God. Not maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I choose to believe it is. So anyway, okay, what'd you get?
Attraction.
Okay.
And I think that the first thing that comes to mind when someone says attraction is, you look at someone, you go, oh, they're attractive. Or you look at, you're attracted to them. The fact is that, it's a law of attraction. Giving it to God is, the attraction there is the serenity, the peace, the thing that you get. And the more that you give it to God, the more of what you're looking for in life you will get in return, the law of attraction. And people say, well, if you think about money, you'll be attracted to money. Yeah, we have to learn, we have to relearn or unlearn that, the thing that we measure success by is not always how much money we're making or how much money we make. I think that's indicative of, look at the people in Hollywood and look at the people that have you thought had the world by the tail.
Mm-hmm.
I think Steve Jobs said that he died. He died in his 50s, and he said that the closer he got to death, the less importance of his life in making money has become.
No, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the attraction. But what I have found is that happiness attracts happy. Contentment attracts contentment. And you find yourself surrounding yourself with people that are like you. And that,
Good and bad.
well, good and bad, absolutely. So you got to be careful of
What's inside,
who you start to hang out with.
What's inside, because I mean, resentment, anger-filled people, toxic people attract toxic people.
Well, and you get, that's the same thing. You get a kid in high school that, you say, the term is, you fell in with the wrong crowd. That was an attraction.
Mm-hmm.
That was a negative attraction, but it's the same thing. It was an attraction.
Mm-hmm.
But, surrounding yourself with people that you want to be like and that you get something from, and the fulfillment and just the serenity of life.
Mm-hmm. Well, in attraction in recovery sense is, in our literature, it's attraction rather than promotion. Like you don't turn on the TV and see television commercials regarding AA. There's not big publications in magazines, saying, hey, come join Alcoholics Anonymous. You don't see billboards. You don't see, magnetic signs on the side of cars, Alcoholics Anonymous. It's attraction. And that's where, I don't very often use the proper term AA on this show. I do because it's part of my journey. It's a part of my life. I still get to almost 12 years in recovery. I still get to go to at least 2 meetings a week. I still talk to my sponsor every single week. But the attraction part for me is my behavior, the way I carry myself, the way I speak. The whole idea is that if someone is and again, I'm speaking in the recovery world. If someone is suffering from the disease of addiction and they see, I can only speak for myself. They see me speaking about it or talking about it, and I'm not grandstanding. I'm just simply telling my truth. There's a soul to soul like attraction right there. That hopefully they say, I want what you have. Where did you get it? Right. And I can say, hey, meet me downtown at 12 o'clock. I'll show you, and that's the attraction versus promotion. But along those same lines with anything, if you want a child, you can't raise your children. It doesn't work. Do as I say, not as I do. Because that attraction of what you're doing is going to be stronger than your words, So if you're smoking, drinking, gallivanting around, or you're angry, or you're toxic, or whatever, your kid is going to become attracted to that, and that's what they're going to become.
So don't gallivant.
Yeah. So just knock it around with knock it off with the gallivant.
Well, it's like Chuck and Mary. And I don't know if you've talked about
a
Chuck
little
and
bit.
Mm-hmm.
They were our
the attraction that they had.
Partners.
With us. I mean, it was just amazing people that was so content with their life and their relationship with God that when you walked away from them, you couldn't help think about.
You felt fed.
You felt
Fed,
like
yeah.
I want what he's got. I want to be like him. Not necessarily be like him, but I want his conviction. I want his contentment. I want his peace. And you knew what it was. His relationship with God.
And he didn't have to tell you.
At all.
He didn't have to. It was that he used that attraction.
Yep.
To.
And you walk away from a conversation with him, and you just knew. You just knew. Yeah, that's the attraction.
That's good stuff. Okay, I think it's my turn. Okay, let's see what we have here. Ooh, worry. So
lack of faith.
Worry is also, it all comes back down to me. Any type of negative emotion always just needs to turn around and point right back to me, because if I'm worrying, I'm saying basically, I know better than God, and I don't trust him.
Or I'm going to take control over it, and I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't worry near what I used to. I would sit here and be a liar if I said I never worry. I do worry on occasion, but it's very short-lived, because of the program of recovery. It is. It's because of the program of recovery. I have learned how to give things over to God. I've learned to talk to my sponsor if I'm worried about something, because if I don't attack that negative emotion early on, I will drink again. And for me to drink again is to die, hands down. So the program saves me in that sense. I do not have the luxury of a normal person to experience anger and worry and resentments and all of those things for an extended period of time. That is a cancer, a very fast-growing cancer for someone like me. So I think for everybody, but for someone like me, it's a suicide mission. I mean, easy to stay in stuff like that. So what do you do with worry?
Well, let me tell you. I mean, my life used to be nothing but worry and anger. It was the control that, I would worry about, was I making the right decision? And if I didn't make the right decision, what was going to happen from there? And, if that happened, what was I going to do next? And I could future trip, a year out. And the thing with worry is that not only does it make you, made me angry, because I didn't have control of the situation or the outcome. But it can also make you very depressed. You worry about something that you have, again, you have no control over anything. And I'm not saying that, God didn't give you a brain that you could make decisions and have solutions to life, life situations. But to worry about the outcome, to worry about, if I make this decision and this happens, what am I going to do with this? And oh my gosh, and to stay awake at night, wondering and worrying. The thing that I've learned with your recovery is let go and let God. Because there is nothing in our lives that we have control over. You and I get back in the car and go back to the office. There is we have no control over the guy running the red light and killing us both.
Well, and I personally don't have control over the way you drive, but I'm not going to talk about that right now. Go ahead.
But you do have control over the way I drive because you tell me how to do it.
I have my imaginary brake.
But the worry part is a lack of faith. Jesus told us, worry about nothing, pray about everything.
Oh, that's real easy to say.
Well, of course it is, but it's a practice. Everything that we do in life, as a as a self-improvement is a practice. And when I say self-improvement, I don't mean trying to be more attractive or trying to do something. I'm talking about, trying to be more Christ-like in the things that we do, the way that we live, the way that we talk to people, the examples in life that we make, that we do, the decisions that we make. We've talked about honesty and attraction and all these things is examples of what Christ told us that we should do to let go of, that we'll be a better person. And the closer you get to God, the closer you get to Christ, the more contentment you have.
Well, and also, that's often a little bit of a tangent, but the closer you get to God, the harder Satan's going to come after you.
Oh, absolutely.
He doesn't go after the bad people. It's one of those things that I see people in recovery all the time. They feel like their life is getting worse, and it's like, if you recognize, the boogeyman's not so scary when you open the door and can see him. It's like, oh, the little pipsqueak in there. It's like, but when you know what's coming after you, you can handle it. But, yeah. Anyway, okay. I think it's your turn.
I think you went twice.
I did not.
Meditation. What's the difference between meditation and prayer?
Are you asking me, or
I'm
are
asking.
you going to tell me?
I have an opinion of it.
Okay, so what would be your answer to that?
I think a meditation is just a quiet time to not talk to God, but let Him talk to you. Prayer is talking to God. Thank you, God. Thank you for the things that you've done. God, I've got a decision to make. I'd like for you to help show me the way, or to show me the way. Meditation is a quiet time to let go. And prayer is to let God. That's my opinion.
Yeah, basically, I have the same answer. Prayer is talking to God. Meditation is listening.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when someone says, prayer is not the, you sit Indian style and, middle fingers in, yeah, that's not it. Meditation is sometimes just being quiet, just saying, God, do you have anything you want to say to me? Do you have anything you want to say to me? And, for me, that was a learning thing, because I'm not quiet, and I'm not still ever. Silence is deafening to me. And so for me to get quiet, it took even if you start out with 5 minutes, but for me, I had to have a piece of paper and a pen, because, and again, this is going to sound really weird, but you're a liar if you say it never happens to you. I can be sitting there, feeling all peaceful and all gaudy, and God, what do you want to say to me? And all of a sudden, dead babies comes in my head, or kill puppies, or just the weirdest, most random, dumb shit thing pops into my head, and it's like, weird. That was Satan throwing a bomb at me. Because the closer I try to get to God, the harder he's going to come at me. And that's one of those things where I'm not responsible for what I think. I'm responsible for how long I think it. So and I don't think about dead babies all the time, but I'm just giving it for instance. So obviously, if something like that pops in my head, I can laugh it off and just go, nice try, Satan. God, what would you like to say to me? And I've gotten pretty good at hearing from God. I mean, you hear me say all the time, God told me this, and I love you for not make, I don't think you would ever make fun of me, but for not going, oh, God said that to you. You always, and I love you for that. Thank you for that. All the way back to the WWJD bracelets, or the Path of Jewels thing that where I've said, and it took great courage for me to say initially, to say to you, God said to me, because I didn't know how you would react. And I distinctly remember where you were sitting and walking in the door from going to the title company. I went to the title company to pick up a check, and that's when God got in my car with me. I was freaking out over 2020, and God's like, okay, we got to get something to keep you busy. I want you to order some of those WWJD bracelets. I want you to give them away until I tell you to stop. And he still hadn't told me to stop.
Well, we've given a few of those
And
away,
we've given thousands and thousands away across the country when we travel and, getting blood drawn and nurse. I'm like, what's your favorite color? But you have always supported me when I've said God has said this, and you're like, well,
who am I to say that he didn't?
You better get busy, But anyway, meditation is just listening to God, and here's the deal: I have adopted the thinking that even if that wasn't from God, God will make good things come from it. That's maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I felt it was, and so you have to act on it.
Well, he's never he's never pointed you in a direction that was wrong.
Right.
The WWJD bracelets. I mean, how could you go wrong doing that? Mm-hmm. The path of jewels. Those are good things.
Well,
those are good things.
And when it's from God, it's typically easy. It's
easy.
Typically falls into place. There's not a whole lot of
And
struggle, and it's good. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, my turn.
Yes.
Let's see how we are on time. We still got about 10 minutes.
Is it your turn?
Yes. Serenity.
Oh, that's something I'm experiencing now.
Serenity. The serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That last part gets me every time. The serenity prayer. And we Rick and I have a mortgage business, and there it can be challenging at times, and you have a loan that looks like it's going to hell in a handbasket, and that's like you do what you can, and then you have to just give it to God and go, you're responsible for the results here. I can't do any more, I can't do any less. And just to the trust. So the serenity prayer saves me, I don't know how many times a day.
Well, the second part of that prayer is to me the strongest part of it. Living one day at a time, taking one moment at a time. Mm-hmm.
Accepting hardships.
Accepting hardships is a pathway to peace. The serenity of it. We want our things to be good all the time, and that life's not like that. You're going to have hard times. Mm-hmm. You're going to have challenges. You're going to have things that aren't going to go right. That's just life.
Well, see, now I thought for sure when I got sober, I thought my troubles were over because I got sober. There's what and it was the oh boy, did troubles happen within the first month or so after getting sober. Relationship challenges, and not you and I, but family relationship challenges, and it's like wait. I'm sober. You people. I'm sober. Everything is supposed to be fine now. And it in the big book, as we say in recovery, which is the Bible. God said. He didn't say you might have some troubles, or it's possible you could have some. He said you will. You're going to stub your toe a lot, but I'm gonna give you the tools to handle that, and I will be there with you.
We live in a broken world.
Mm-hmm.
And being able to accept that is where the serenity comes in, the peace. Getting up in the morning, and instead of being angry because it's morning time and you got to go to work, and you get up in the morning and you go, good morning, God. Mm-hmm. It's another day.
Instead of good God, it's morning.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where the serenity, the peace comes in. Mm-hmm. Again, I've already said it probably 2 or 3 times, giving it to God. Because you sure as heck can't do anything about it. I tried to control my life. I know how that turned out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that whole running the universe thing, just you get tired.
So-
Yeah, and if you're wondering, I heard it someone talk about the other day. We go to bed thinking we didn't get enough done. We we didn't have enough time, and you wake up, I didn't get enough sleep, and it's just the perpetual constant frustration and what have you with your life, whereas the counterpart to that is gratitude. You can't experience not one single negative emotion while you're in gratitude. Not one. You can't be angry you can't be angry and grateful all at the same time.
Right.
It's impossible. So that's where my sponsor does to me, I do to sponsees, I do to our children. When they're in all kinds of sorts about them, it's like, okay, tell me 3 things you're grateful for. 3 things. Well, I don't know. Are you grateful that there's air right now? Do you have air to breathe? Okay, that's something to be. If nothing else, there's air. Are you thankful that you have a house? Are you thankful that whatever?
Did you eat today?
If you can get into gratitude, genuine gratitude, it seems to take away the stings of. So anyway, that's a whole nother pop. Okay, why don't you do one more?
You got one more.
Yeah.
Unity. The more I practice the serenity, the gratefulness, the thankfulness, the more that I feel my unity or my closeness with God. Every time I've done
I'm going to look up the definition of unity.
unity, being as one or uniting.
Go continue.
And I think that's important. When Christ was on earth, the thing that I think that he wanted us to realize is that, there is a possibility of we can have a little slice of heaven here. We don't have to worry. We don't have to be frustrated all the time. We don't have to be angry all the time. We can have the peace and serenity that he had, and that we can experience, and just a little bit of taste. We're all going to die. Everybody. It's the one thing that everybody does. It's the one thing that people prepare the least for, and it's the one thing that most people won't accept. Oh, we know it's going to happen. We know that's going to happen. And when it does, we're going to be reunited with God. Whether we're absorbed in Him, whether we leave, but nobody really, really knows, because nobody has gone and come back, and we've had little glimpses of it. But the fact is that my belief, there'll be a unity with God that will surpass anything that I've ever experienced here on earth.
The definition of unity per Google, the state of being united or joined as a whole. So in recovery, the group is a unity. The group is, to be united as one group is really important. To have that. I can remember on March 14, 2012, when my sponsor said to me, "Are you ready to go?" Because it's up 3 flights of stairs. "Are you ready to go up and change your date?" And I remember sitting down in that chair, and for the very first time in my entire life, I belonged. I wasn't trying to fit in. I belonged. The way I was, and I felt a part of. I felt it was indescribable, you know. And as a human race, imagine if we all felt like we belonged and didn't have to try to fit in. I mean, man, what a world that would be.
Yeah, because we live that every day. You go into a social, environment or a business environment, or you're going into a meeting and, you're everything you do, you try to fit in.
Yeah, you've seen firsthand. I don't. Much to Rick's chagrin, I think at first, which you definitely. I don't know if you got into the stream with me or if you just thought to hell with it. There ain't nothing I can do about it anyway. But yeah, the integrity with this girl is something else. Because I mean, if you're around me within 5 minutes, not as if I set out intentionally, but being in recovery is who I am. That's a part of who I am. And so if I find an avenue to share that, I'm gonna.
Well, see, and I'm proud of you for that.
And thank you for that.
If more people would do that, and we've said it before, and we've expressed it before, it's something that we sweep under the rug. It's something that our society has made people feel ashamed of. And it is you being able to come out and say, I am Christine, I'm an alcoholic. To me, that's huge, because that is, I don't know of a person that has not been either associated or knows someone that has, that hasn't experienced that alcoholism, the drug abuse, the addiction. Whether, doesn't matter what it is, the addiction, period. And we as a society sweep it under the rug and act like it doesn't exist. And the fact of the matter is there's no social boundaries to it. And I'm, quite frankly, I've said it to you before, I'm a little jealous of you being able to have the privilege of going to meetings. That's something that a normie doesn't get to do.
Right. No, it is a blessing. It is a blessing. Well, and one of those things that it's like there are just so many people that are dying in shame. And no, ma'am, no sir, and that's where the beautiful part of recovery is, when you get so comfortable with your darkness, you're willing to go into someone else's to help them find their way out. And I is God willing, and as long as I've got breath in me, I will continue to share my experience, strength, and hope, so that someone who is still suffering, whether it's from addiction or other character defects, that God used me, that most dangerous prayer. So
well, and I'll do my share to support you.
I love you for that. Thank you so much. Thank you for being on the show today, Rick.
I'm so grateful for you being
Thank you for allowing it.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to the Purpose Driven Sobriety Podcast. Please do check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, all the things, Purpose Driven Sobriety. Keep coming back.
You'll be blessed.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to Purpose Driven Sobriety. Keep coming back.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.